Get ready with me and let's talk about grief. It's been a minute since I've touched on this topic, and that's been rather intentional. I've been doing a lot of therapy, 2 different forms of therapy over the last few months. And what I'm learning is that grief, it doesn't go away. For those of you who aren't aware, I lost both of my parents earlier this year separately. My mom passed away in February and my dad passed away fast follow in April. And I've been spending the last several months in intensive therapy thinking that that was the right thing to do. While I'm not saying that therapy is not helpful, I think my intention around therapy is where I was a little flawed. I was expecting therapy to be this quick fix, end all be all to really help me avoid grief instead of recognizing it for what it is and really recognizing that it's going to be present in my life for the rest of my life. You know, you can't escape it. But what I've really recognized over the last few weeks and had kind of an epiphany on is that I'm always constantly looking for like the next thing, the next task, the next checkbox, if you will. And grief therapy had really become that for me. I would say recently I've been in a really good place, really trying to live in the present moment and not think back to some of these really hard traumatic events that took place earlier this year. And being in grief therapy was pushing me to go back and relive some of those experiences that just didn't feel good. So what I'm choosing to do now is just really remain present and stay in the present moment, knowing that it is highly likely that these waves of grief will continue to make themselves known with me in my life. But instead of living in fear and bracing for the impact of those waves moving forward, I'm just recognizing it for what it is, knowing that it's going to happen at some point, and realizing that I have the tools and I have the capability to get through it and the confidence within myself to overcome the grief. If you've experienced a significant loss in your life and have had any kind of grief, you know that it can really easily feel like the world continues to move on while you're standing still. And that can be really hard to deal with and really hard to get past, but you always come out on the other side. And I just have to remind myself that. Had a pretty big wave of grief hit me this morning when I realized that 1 year ago yesterday was the last time that I spent any real significant time with my mother. We live long distance, and 1 year ago yesterday, I had taken both of my parents out to dinner at one of our favorite Mexican restaurants back home, and I had like a memory pop up on my phone reminding me of that. Of course, that made me a little emotional, and I allowed myself to feel that in the moment and really experience that grief for what it was. But what I didn't allow myself to do was to revel in it and really spiral into a state of depression where that would have really impacted the rest of my day, and I probably would have canceled plans for dinner tonight. I feel like that's why I'm really called to make this video. I don't want to come off that like therapy is bad and you shouldn't be in therapy, but what I'm trying to highlight is that maybe overdoing it can be more harm than good, at least in my case. Seeking out something that doesn't really exist in your life or that you're at a good place in your life, redigging it up and kind of hashing it out isn't helpful for me, and I'm now recognizing that. I feel like I've learned and I'm learning a lot of tools and processes, both traditionally and spiritually, in the therapy world, that I can navigate this very confidently moving forward. And so I'm forever grateful to have learned what I've learned so far and now really put it into practice. I miss my parents and I'm reminded of them every single day, some days more than others, like today. But missing them and living in misery is not going to bring them back. And I just have to remind myself and stay focused on the fact that they would want me to move on in my life and continue to live a fruitful life and really live my life to the fullest and experience this world and do the things that they never got to do. So that's really what I'm set out to do moving forward. A big part of me living my life is surrounding myself with people who really fuel my soul. And so that's what I'm gonna do at this dinner tonight. This is the final makeup look. I'm gonna go curl my hair and change, and I'll be right back. And here's the final look. My shirt is from Anthropologie, the jeans are American Eagle, the shoes are from Target, and tonight's earrings and necklace were both my mother's.